Welcome to the Mama's Village Podcast CT, where Fairfield County moms discover they're not alone in their struggles while uncovering the hidden gems, local treasures, and real solutions that make motherhood in Connecticut not just survivable, but extraordinary. Today, I have a very fun guest. She has spent over 30 years in the mental health field. She owns Family Consultants of Westport, a therapy matching service that refers patients to the right therapist for them. And she also completed her first book called Don't Tell My Mom That I Love Her, which is right here. Thank you so much for joining me, Lauren Barnett. How
Thank
are
you
you?
for having me, Abby.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, about your business, how you got into being an author, all of that stuff.
Well, I certainly never set out to be an author. I guess we can start with that. However, I did always know that I was going to be in the field working with teenagers. So I guess that's kind of an interesting way to start. And I have been working with adolescents since I was practically an adolescent myself. I started out just kind of being a camp counselor and then went right to college and studied to get a major in psychology and then went right to grad school and knew I wanted to be a school counselor or a social worker. And ever since I was 21 years old, that's what I've been doing. So I've worked for, as you said, 30 years, doing a variety of different things, mostly centered around community work, agency work, hospital work, and school and camp work. But most of my career was spent as a middle school guidance counselor and working as a director at a sleepaway camp for girls. So working with teenage girls and their parents has been the biggest focus of my career, but also of my kind of heart and soul and my passion. I started the idea for the book before I built my business. So there's kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump. But I'll go back and say that the book kind of evolved over years as I had experienced what I found to be at even a very young age, very adult middle school moments of this concept of like, I cannot believe I'm still living through this and I'm a grown up now. And yet these experiences are just the same experiences as my kids, my middle school students are experiencing. So there's this concept of like, we never leave middle school kept gnawing at me. So I started to like jot down ideas of like, I have to write a book one day. That's all it was. This idea of like, there's a connection between middle school and adulthood that has never left us, and it's very powerful. And then it evolved over the years into this kind of diary of the consistent stories, dilemmas, issues, problems that middle school girls continue to face and have faced. And that's over the 30 years of my career. And as a mom and my own daughters, it is kind of this pervasive set of situations that has never changed and will never change. In between that, since I started the book and then finished the book, I built this business called Family Consultants at Westport, where I kind of took a break from the book and decided that something very serious was missing in the mental health landscape, and that all of the families with whom I was working kept coming to me in a crisis saying, well, we don't know where to go to get help because nobody's taking anybody new. Nobody has any room. And I would also hear, well, we have a therapist, but it's not really working. And those two consistent struggles and barriers kind of drove me to see if I could fill that void for people and kind of merge my expertise and experience in the field and the knowledge of mental health issues and diagnoses with this kind of natural, intuitive ability to connect with humans and connect and make relationships and make connections. So it's been wonderfully successful, but more importantly, much more meaningful than I ever had even hoped it would be. And I really get to directly like match make, whether it's families, whether it's children, or whether it's adults and couples. I have older adults, I have moms going through menopause and change of life, and I've got young families, you name it. And I will work with them in whatever they need and find them the right either team of mental health professionals or just one or two referrals for a therapist. And then I kind of built that and then went back and finished my book. And that's like the short version of it. That's the 30-year span in 4 minutes.
That's amazing. In that time, you also had children,
Right, that
correct? So
too.
you, yes, and you're in the Westport area, correct?
Yes.
So did you raise your kids in Westport?
So for the most part, yes, we did live in a few other places before that, but since they were like elementary school, we have lived in Westport. So yes, they grew up in Westport, and so Fairfield County is really their home.
And we're here, talking about the book, but I think it's really important to talk about your business and talk about what that means to people. There are so many ways that people need help as far as mental health, and whether it's their kids or what is it that you think makes the best match for somebody and a therapist? Like, how do you match make? What is it that you're looking for? And, this is just brief, and this is just because I'm literally curious. I just want to know myself.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's the best part about the question is that nobody ever thinks to ask it. And everybody who's looking for a therapist thinks it's a one size fits all. Oh, I need somebody who focuses on ADHD. I need a therapist who works with teens. I need a couples therapist. I need a therapist who works with aging adults. And while that is a wonderful layer of expertise that said therapist should have, that is in no way that is a vast, like, universal, most generalized explanation for what you think will be the right fit for you, when in fact, it is the most personal, like, deeply human, nuanced relationship that you and this other adult will sit in a room together, whether you are an 8-year-old child or you are a 52-year-old woman. You're going to basically place your heart and soul and most vulnerable moments and challenges in the trust of this other human and hope that they will support you, provide you with a safe place, and then, by the way, guide you expertly and scientifically into learning the right skills to feel better. The fact that people think they can search on Facebook or on like a Google search to find a therapist and that that's acceptable is heartbreaking to me. It's disheartening and it's sad and it's frustrating, but that is all that kind of existed before I built my business. That there's no other way to get people help. You either find it on this Google search or your neighbor recommends it, or you ask your pediatrician or your school, and that's it. So, what I do is more of like a personality match and temperament and interests and hobbies and passions and what do you love to do in your free time and tell me about where you grew up, and it's much more about what are your mental health issues than it is about who will you sit with in a room and feel the most comfortable.
Interesting. So important and so awesome that you do that. And I'm so glad that we're able to tell people that that business exists. So very cool. Before we dive into the book, which I promise we are going to do, I do want to, of course, do our hidden gems and talk and share about Fairfield County hidden gems. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
My newly discovered favorite place is not a restaurant or something you pay to go to, but I hope it's okay to share that I just discovered because clearly I don't leave my home or my office a lot, is the Norwalk River Trail for walking my dog. I, I was like, I cannot believe this is in my backyard. It's magical. It's breathtaking. It's peaceful. You feel like you're hiking in the mountains. It's amazing. And it makes me so happy.
Cool. I have to check it out. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
you have to check
Yay.
it out. And they're expanding it. I mean, I'm literally just discovering this now. It's literally going to be many, many miles long. But for now, it's only a few miles long, which is fine for me and fine for my dog. But it's going to connect with the beach area. It's amazing.
Yay. Oh, that's
Yeah, highly
amazing. Very
recommend.
cool. Thank you. Yes, awesome. It just opened up in Easton. It's a hidden gem, it's Chef Prasad, who owns an Indian kitchen in New Canaan, just opened it, and it's called Gourmet United. It's in Easton, and they've decided to do both Mexican and Indian menu. Which is very odd, but both things are very delicious, and Chef Prasad is a Michelin star chef. So this is no
I have
joke,
to try it.
delicious stuff. It's so good. Yeah, Gourmet United. We had it over the weekend, and it was just delish.
Okay.
So I highly recommend. The next thing I want to share, if possible, is what are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you reading? Do you have anything to share?
So I am listening to slash reading an audiobook, which actually is my first audiobook that I, except for when my daughter was young, it was Harry Potter, but this is my first like experience with audiobooks. So I am listening to The Lightkeeper, which is written by a local author, Stacey Wellman Bass. So it's amazing, and it's been a really wonderful experience, and actually like beautiful because I just met with her, and now I've just coming, published my own book. So it's like it's very heartwarming, and I really love it. I also just finished a pretty deep, like grueling historical fiction book called The Huntress, which was not light, but very informative and very interesting, and a really deep, wonderful story about the war and a Russian villain. It was actually very interesting. So, ironically, stark contrast to what I read historical fiction, which is so does not fit the rest of who I am. The rest of who I am is I only listen to Broadway, I only watch rom-coms and comedies on TV. I only see musicals and movies that make me feel good. But for some bizarre reason, I choose to read historical fiction. But I don't watch anything dark on TV. I don't watch any scary movies. I am rewatching Modern Family for the third time around. I'm at the end of season 11, and I'm watching Only Murders in the Building, which is like as light and bubbly as it gets.
So good. I have not. So, your book is actually the first book that I've had a minute to pick up and dive into
Good.
in a while. I mean, I feel like, yeah, I feel like in a while. So, I was very happy to do that. I
Grateful that you are.
generally will start some sort of Netflix show or whatever. I'm interested in Nobody Wants This. I've gotten a couple of episodes in. It's pretty good. Nobody Wants This is pretty good. I liked the first
Yeah,
season, but there was a film that I just was able to watch. It's called The Baltimoreans. It's a J. Duplass film, and I really liked it. It was kind of hokey in the beginning, but it was just it's a rom-com, but very authentic feeling, and I just really liked that. I just really liked how they didn't try to amp up any of the feelings, any of the emotions. They made it very real, but also very funny. So
I never.
that's another.
That's great.
Yeah, it's an indie, and you can find it on Prime. But yeah, the Baltimoreans.
Okay, it's a great title.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about your book.
Okay.
Can you, in a few short sentences, describe the book and the main character, Maggie?
The book, I think, has two storylines. And I think at the core is Maggie. She's a 12-year-old seventh grade girl, and it is her diary. And it's written in her voice as she goes through the daily trials and tribulations of middle school life and all of the pain and suffering she endures on a daily basis. And she's very funny, and she's very mature, and she's very self-effacing, and she's very intuitive. So it's a lovely adult humorous voice that is meant for girls to connect with, that also their mothers to connect with. And then the outer layer and the more overarching theme is that it is about the relationship between Maggie and her mom, and of course, and her grandmother. And there's this three generations of women, and just how deeply connected and interconnected they each are with one another without them even recognizing it sometimes, and how it can be lovely, and it can be very painful, and it can be very frustrating. And what makes the book a little more interesting is that embedded in every single daily entry is Maggie's mom's voice giving her advice, and then Maggie overhearing from the, downstairs or through the bedroom walls what her mom really thinks. So there's like three different components to every entry. It's Maggie's question about her life, like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, like, how am I going to get through this day? What does this mean? Blah, blah, blah. The mom gives her this like beautiful, loving, maternal answer. And then her mom leaves the room, and, will either go downstairs or whatever. And then Maggie like hears her truth. And that's how Maggie goes through her diary.
Interesting. Everything is so relatable. So I related to Maggie's mom and what she was saying so much. These were words that I am saying to my daughter. A lot of the thoughts that I'm having are thoughts that, are adjacent to the ones that I'm having about, my daughters. So yeah, I mean, I think very relatable. What what Maggie's going through, very relatable. Is this inspiration? Is this from your life? Are these entries that you made when you were a kid? Are these entries that you've seen? Is this how did you come up with Maggie and how did you know her voice so well?
So it's really evolved over time, but these are not entries about my life or that I had written when I was young. Certainly, they are themes that are very familiar from when I was growing up, but they truly, truly are driven from a long list of ideas and themes and concepts that I had been keeping track of for a chunk of years while I was working in one or two middle schools. And that's when I said to you, like, it evolved from like, I had this idea when I was first like a young mom of like this idea that we never leave seventh grade. And I had these ideas of these chapters, if you will, these stories that kept occurring. And then it evolved into this is a middle school girls book and mom's book because the moms with whom I was working were exasperated and totally sideswiped every day by their daughters' moods, behaviors, emotions, unpredictability, their disgruntledness. They couldn't get through, they couldn't understand it. And then I was working with the girls who were struggling to get through the day and couldn't understand why their moms didn't understand them and they couldn't be supported. And I started to write down a list. And that list translated to each position I held wherever I was working and was steadfast through all the years of my career. And I added to it over the years as things as I really developed the book in a larger form. So that's where the entries come from. They come from repeated themes from various situations and jobs in which I worked with middle school girls that were just no matter the location or the town or the city or the setting or the whether it was in the 90s or the 20.
So tell me about those themes. Can we talk a little bit about specifically what they are and what Maggie's going through? Like, can we pinpoint a little bit of there was like a dichotomy of like she's trying to fit in, but she's also trying to stand out. Is that a common theme that you would say?
That's a perfect summary of most of what I think most middle school girls are desperately trying to figure out. I really want to be cool and popular, and I want everyone to like me, and I want to fit in so desperately. And I also don't want to be like everybody else. I want to find my unique personality, my unique sense of style. I want to be this like main character in a story. I want the spotlight on me. I want to be independent. I want to be strong. At the same time, I want to blend in desperately to the background. I don't want anyone to notice what I'm saying. I don't want to stand out. I want to like mold, fall into the wallpaper. I want to sit in the back row. So there's this daily balancing act that Maggie and all the 12-year-old girls seem to be living with. Whether they are the most popular at the top of the pyramid or desperately struggling to find their place at the bottom of the pyramid, it's the same story. So yeah,
And then tell me about the relationship between Maggie and her mom. What is that sort of theme there?
I think the beautiful thing about it is that I don't think as moms raising 12-year-old girls, we are able to step back and be objective about like empathizing for our daughters or deeply understanding the pain and suffering they're going through because we're involved in it and we're frustrated and we're tired and we have other children and we are working full time and we have a family and we have to deal with regular life. So we are easily frustrated by them, we are less patient and less tender. Yet we are still so much that girl and always will be. So I also wonder throughout the book if moms can, and I've heard this a lot from a lot of moms who have read it, like it really made me step back and kind of pause a little bit before I mumble under my breath or say what I always want to say because I do forget. And I wonder if I'm frustrated with my daughter because it reminds me so much of a painful time in my life that I choose not to remember, or if I'm frustrated with her because now as an adult, I see how irrational she's being, and I forget that she has no other way of getting through this but being that way. She doesn't have the skills that I now have as a grown up. So I'm so frustrated with her, but I forget that, like, no matter what I say, she has to learn for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know if that
I think both of them. Yeah, all of those things. I mean, 100%. The amount that you relate to the 12-year-old and the 7th grade and don't wanna go back there. I mean, I definitely feel that where it's like, I brought me back, and that's not a place I necessarily want to. It's not that I don't wanna remember, it's fine, but it's like, there's some parts of it that I'm not excited about remembering, and yeah, it does. It makes you pause and it makes you think, "Oh, wow, that is a really hard time in life." That, you know, she is really going through a whole lot. So, do you have a message in this book that you really feel like mothers and daughters should be learning? Or do you feel like, is it like a way to connect with your daughter? Is that sort of the intention? What would you say is the intention of this?
I really have had a very difficult time narrowing it down to just one. That might be a fault of mine or of the story. Like when, the publisher is like, you have to pick a genre or you have to pick a bookshelf or you have to pick an audience. And the truth is, it's who I am. Like, I really do. This does do two things for me. It really is so much for the 12-year-olds so that they don't feel so alone. And when you are 12, as we may or may not remember, but as I know all too well because I've been living this world for so many years, they totally 100% believe they are the only one that feels that way. And they are 100% not the only one that feels that way, but in their brain and their mind, that's how they feel. So if this helps them, which I know that it has, because I like so many moms of 12-year-olds and the girls that even spoken to me and like, this is literally my life. Like, how did you know? So I want them to realize, like, you're not alone, and everybody you're sitting next to in math class feels the exact same way, A. And B, I want it for the moms to not only get a better understanding for their 12-year-olds and remember what they're going through, but really for moms who have daughters of every age, like I do. I have daughters in their 20s. There are many moms who are reading it who have daughters who are in elementary school. I have many moms who are in their 60s and reminiscing about when their daughters were young, but they're now in their 30s. And it's like, I want it to be, lighthearted and warm and a good reminder, but also like give this impression that we are so our identity is so connected to the daily life of our children, whether we like it or not. That I'm not saying the girls' identity is so tied into their moms, although it is, and to a degree. As a mother, we cannot see ourselves as who we are anymore without connecting it to who our child is. So if they're having a difficult day, hour, year, month, decade, it doesn't matter. That's our pain. And it's kind of lovely too. And it's beautiful. And if we also, in doing so, remember that we are also deeply connected to our own mothers, whether they are elderly or young and vibrant or with us or not. Like there's this like beautiful thread that connects these generations of women. And I cannot say what it's like with sons. This is not about mothers of boys, although I have a lot of friends who have read it who have sons because they also have mothers, and they're like, "No, it's amazing to me." Although I can understand a lot of the stuff because I don't remember, they remember what it was like when they were 12, but they're not living through it with their daughters. But it's a parenting thing too, to live this deep connection with your children. And I don't mean that in the negative, like helicoptery, like you're suffering, therefore I have to fix it. I mean like we're connected in our soul.
Yes. I don't remember where, but I read that the cells of your children still live within the mother.
And
And
that's
so,
great. I
I
love
mean, like,
that.
literally can't get they're there. And I believe it and I feel it.
Right.
So, yeah, I love that. That's wonderful. So, would you mind reading your some pages from the book? Some
Of course, I wouldn't mind, and of course, as I mentioned, it's, like, hard for me to pick. I had, like there's so many parts that I love. I mean, I'm changing glasses, but I just picked this one part because I felt like it was just a good capture of, like, a very general theme where you have the mom and you have Maggie and you have like a daily saga. And it happens to be a moment where she walks into the cafeteria as she does every single day. And as we all know, the middle school cafeteria is like the wild, wild west or like the jungle of Lion King. So she walks out with her tray and she's going to sit with her friends. And so she goes to find her regular table and there's no more room for her. So that's the entry to this one. So, okay. So she says, anyway, it wasn't like they said, there's no more room, thank God, because I would have died. But there just wasn't any physical room. They ended up probably reluctantly moving over, and I squeezed in. I just felt like I was annoying them and they didn't want to be with me. What would I do if I was annoying my friends? Would they ever tell me? Maybe if they told me, that would be even worse. Maybe I should live in denial and believe they like me. Maybe I'm not cool enough. Not sure what they want from me. Lately, they've been having some other girls at our table for lunch. Like today, Alex and Megan were at the table. They're really nice, but I feel like they're in my seat. I'm exhausting myself. Maybe I'm exhausting them too. The worst part about it was that tonight, when I was in a bad mood, my mom didn't even care. She was ignoring me, and she should have helped me. She was way too busy texting her friends and doing the dishes to even notice that my whole life was falling apart. And I shouldn't have to be the bigger person and tell her that I need her. That's her job. She is, in the truest sense of the word, the bigger person. So it's her job to just know. But instead, I got this muttered under her breath while she slammed the frying pans back into the drawers. The whole world doesn't revolve around you, Maggie, nor does this house. Do your homework, get off your phone, stop overanalyzing your life, and go to sleep. We've all been there.
Yeah, absolutely. Um the amount of times that I've, you know, gone through something with my daughter where my daughter has, and this goes for both my daughters, have thought that I should potentially understand something is, I mean, it's big. And yeah, that's a great one. Tell me about what it felt like to finish this book as the author.
It's been a really beautiful, exciting time for me, I have to say. As I mentioned briefly earlier, I am not a writer. I did not, carve out my life and my career to be a published author and to put a bunch of stories out there into the world and make a living doing this. I just had this idea and really felt it could connect moms and daughters and help them feel better and help them to laugh at it a little bit, which I really hope that they can do. And so to finally finish it and kind of do it all by myself and launch it into the universe and hope that it has an impact on people, I'm just really trying to like have fun with it and lean into it. I mean, I don't have a PR agent. I don't have a giant publishing house behind me. It's just like a small project, and I worked with some lovely people in town who helped me to like get it to the finish line, and they really helped me. And I'm just like having a lot of gratitude and feeling like a lot of love from people, and I'm really enjoying it. Felt really
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome. And it's in Barnes and Noble, right?
Okay, so it's in Barnes and Noble in Westport as a local author. So yes, it's in Barnes and Noble, but it is only right here. I've learned very little about the literary world in this very short span of time, and one of those many things I've learned is that you just don't get into Barnes and Noble. Like you have to
Okay.
be you have to be the top of the top to even get in. That's not how it works. So I'm very grateful that they put my new book there on the local author shelf, and I'm there it shall stay. But I'm
That's
on Amazon, and
What has been the hardest part? What's been the hardest part? What's been the biggest hurdle for you going through this?
I think actually it's like a little bit of imposter syndrome. I think, and I feel that with my business too, actually, which I think helps me to feel really grateful because I still can't believe I started a business. I mean, I'm a therapist. Like, I've never taken a business class in my life. I've never taken a writing class in my life. So I think there's this like daily hurdle I have to overcome of like, you're okay. Like, you did it. Like, just let what happens happens. People want to talk to you. People want to read it. People want to buy it. People want to invite you to their club or event or whatever their book. Like, that's okay. Like, you're actually doing it. You really did it. That's, I think, the hardest part for me.
And how do you get over it? What do you say to yourself every day besides that? Is there anything that Do you have a therapist of your own? Is this something that's touching something from your, you know, 13-year-old self, would you say?
It's funny. I don't think it is like a deeper, I don't think it's like an insecurity. I don't think it's like an underlying issue from my past. I think I know what I'm really good at. As I've always said, like I'm good at one thing. Like this is my lane. I speak teenage girl and I speak moms. And that's all I can do. So the fact that I've like made a living doing that is incredibly joyful for me.
Yeah.
And so I think when you get to do what you really wanna do every day, that's like a little bit of an imposter syndrome pinch me moment of,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
not yeah.
Good. That's awesome. Okay, so what are the next steps for you? Where are you doing readings? Are you doing a launch? What's the next step?
So that's a good question, and since I'm a total rookie at this whole thing and I'm literally doing it all by myself, I don't really have an answer for that except I'm open to anything and everything, and I have to be I have to learn how to market myself. That's a hard thing for me. I am maybe it's the imposter syndrome thing, but like I am not a salesperson and certainly not good at selling myself. So that's the hardest thing because when you write a book that's so personal to you, you're really putting yourself out there and becoming extremely vulnerable. Every time I get in my head of like, well, what if they don't like it? I have to like stop myself and be like, just, enjoy the ride. And I'm not really marketing. I'm just trying to, keep connecting with lovely people and go wherever it takes me. I just had a launch party last week, which was really exciting and really fun. Um, we'll see where it goes.
That's amazing. And I know that Middle Meats is doing are you doing a reading? It's a book club and a discussion about the book,
Yes, yes.
correct?
Then I'll do a
Will you lead
podcast
that?
with them, with her as well, with Georgette as well. So,
That's
so that's fun. And I've made some other really nice connections with people, and we'll see where it leads. I mean, I'm a nobody in the actual literary world, and I certainly don't have a platform of a million followers, and I'm not an already published author 3 times over. So if this reaches, 1,000 people, I'm beyond thrilled. What I really would love to do is and I haven't even started this process yet, but I think in the back of my mind, I'd love to, like, literally get into schools and have some mother-daughter reading groups, even if it's just like a 3-week thing here and there at different schools. I don't know, I have to figure that out too,
yeah.
to figure it all out.
That's a great idea. It's hard to convince my daughters to read
I know.
anything. So having a group where we join the group, perhaps that would encourage that kind of connection between us. So yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. I think that's a great idea. So we can find this book on Amazon. And do you have a
I do.
website
I have a website,
that we can
laurenmbarnett.com.
amazing. So anything that you'll be doing, will you post on that
Yes.
website or do you have Instagram,
I have
Facebook, all of
Instagram.
that?
Yes, I have Instagram. So most of the stuff is on Instagram, but the Instagram is obviously don't tell my mom that I love her. And then I have my family consultants of Westport Instagram when sometimes I share them on both. Yeah, anything that's coming up, I'll post on there. I'm not really great at the social media part, but I'm trying to get the help of other people. And then I do, and the website is, should in theory be updated, but I don't have that much time to deal with that. But yeah, I guess the Instagram is the best way to do it. And Facebook, I'm posting on Facebook. So yeah,
Amazing. Is there anything that you wanna share, any more that you wanna share about this book or wanna tell people about?
I think the only other piece that I want people to know is that what I love about it is there's also just a layer of like nostalgia, and I think it's fun and makes it very playful and reminiscent, especially for moms our age, of kind of like moments of movies that we grew up with or musicals that we grew up with. So Maggie's very much loves to relate to movies and song and have that kind of main character moment. So through that kind of personality type, she often refers to movie characters that are important to her. Or, for example, like Grease, like obviously iconic to me growing up and also still iconic to girls at this age because it's still such a central theme. So there's a lot of those moments in it that make it even more upbeat and nostalgic. And it's a very fun, easy read,
It
even though
is
it
fun.
has some deep themes of love and motherhood and parenting and relationships. It's very lighthearted and fun and easy.
Yes, it really is. Yeah, it's a wonderful read. Thank you so much for doing this. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Abby.
it. And I'm excited to continue reading it. And I can't wait to get this in front of my daughters and I'm going to make them read it. They have to.
Tell them
I'm
it's an
just
assignment for
kidding.
me and that, we're
Yeah,
doing research.
that's right. That's right. Yes. And
Yeah,
we need
I
them.
need them for
Absolutely.
research.
It's
And if you roll your eyes and you're like,
amazing.
"This is so annoying, but this woman that I met needs it for research," and if you're annoyed, then maybe they'll do it.
All right. I'll try
Good
that.
luck.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you. This is awesome.